started with Jenny Capper. Jenny, what's your face off?
Hi, buddy. Since it's the week of opening day, I just was wondering if you had an announcement about your opening day starter.
Jenny, I do.
Great. Would you like to share that with the media? Has it been shared?
Are you laughing? Are you giggling? What are you doing?
I'm giggling a little. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I have shared it with the starting pitcher who's going to pitch opening day. Herman Marquez and I had a discussion yesterday, and he will pitch Thursday afternoon.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thomas Harding, go ahead.
All right. I'm glad that Jenny took the seat of power for that one.
Per tradition.
Tradition. That's right. It's all about tradition. Obviously, coming into this, he had been a number one starter. When you did do the announcement, I don't know if you did it in a ceremonial way or what, but anything about setting the tone for the season or whatever, or is all that stuff already said and known?
Well, I think it's a feather in the cap for all pitchers who are named opening day starters. I think it's something that will always be prevalent in a pitcher's mind. I think as his career unfolds and even as he looks back on that, it's for me, I think it's an honor to be named opening day starter. It's a special day in our country when the baseball season opens. So to be named the starter of your team that day, I think it's quite an honor.
Have you lined up the rotation beyond Herman on opening day? I know there are a number of options to do this, but have you lined up that rotation, and what is that at this point?
Sensatella's gonna pitch the second game. John Gray will pitch the third game, and Austin Gomber will pitch the fourth game.
When you look at the Dodgers, the team you're matching up with, they do have a lot of left-handed power, but going with three righties out of the gate, what kind of went into that? I know that Sensatella pitched well against them.
There are starting pitchers, Thomas. They're capable against anybody.
Okay, great. I'll pass it on to others.
Patrick Saunders, go ahead.
Hi, buddy. I was flying home yesterday, so I did not get to see Herman pitch yesterday. Overall, what's your assessment of the spring he's had and his performance in the Cactus?
Arm strength is there. His velocity is where it needs to be. Breaking ball is solid. Threw a lot more changeups this spring to get a feel for that. He's in position physically and mentally to start the season. He feels good about his arm and his stuff. So overall, he hit every marker, every bullpen session, every start. Pitch count got close to 90. So there's some stamina there when he takes the mound when we start the season. So overall, he's in a good spot.
And I'm not sure I asked you this question or if anybody else has asked you this question about Austin Gomber. When he introduced himself to us, we discussed the fact that he is a fly ball pitcher. Does that concern you at all at Coors Field where fly balls tend to travel pretty far?
No, it doesn't.
And why not?
Because that's his style of pitching. He gets his outs how he gets his outs. If he's able to produce fly balls that are off the end of the bat or fly balls that are choked off because he gets in on the hands of hitters, those result in outs as well. So, he's got the ability to pitch up in the strike zone to get outs. He's got the ability to pitch down in the strike zone to get ground balls. I think there's a strikeout in his game. Maybe not a high strikeout type pitcher like Herman or potentially John, but this guy knows how to pitch and he knows how to produce his outs.
Great, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Big Roke.
Yeah, buddy, I know that you added Chi to the 40-man. Are you thinking of
getting him some starts here over the first month? Is that the plan?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So
He's starting today. I know we're not into April yet. It's still March. He's starting today, but he will definitely pick up some starts at the start of the season.
Okay. Although I know that, like you mentioned a couple days ago, that you don't really need him until the Giants series. So.
Well, I didn't say that necessarily. Yeah,
Okay.
you don't if you want to pitch the other guys on regular rest, or we can insert him against the Diamondbacks to give guys extra days rest if we feel they need it.
Okay. As an alternative, though, if you do keep everybody on regular rest, I mean, is it a thing where Chichi could start the season in the bullpen and then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Would that then leave you open for possibly having two long relievers over the first week?
Yes.
Okay. And then finally, just
I feel like I'm on the witness stand.
this is.
But those are yes and no answers.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm just clearing some stuff up here.
Yeah,
And then
for sure.
Just,
Hey, you're doing your homework. I love it.
I'm trying. Yeah.
Yes, and I think you're on the right path.
Okay.
You're
great.
getting it.
Awesome.
You're asking the right questions.
Oh, I'm glad. So just this is one I can't wrap my head around though.
Okay.
Does not having a Scott available change your calculation for how many pitchers you might want in the bullpen, or is that?
No, probably not. I mean, we're probably going to try to keep as many arms as possible early in the season.
Okay. And then just one last.
Okay, fine. No, this is great. We're talking baseball, Nick. I'm in.
No, this is awesome. I'm having a lot of fun. With Chichi being a starter, but maybe available as a long reliever, a slash type guy.
Sure.
I mean, does that mean that you could even go to 15? You could even.
Probably not. No.
Okay. Gotcha.
I know you got your pencil out and you're putting names down. And that's awesome. We do the same thing.
I know you do, and I'm trying to match up my.
I like it. Yes. Yes. And you're probably pretty close.
Okay. Cool. Thank you, buddy.
You got it, Nick.
I'll go to Tracy Ringolsby, then Drew Creasman. Trace.
But it seemed like the one thing that Marquez has had some problem with this spring has actually been his fastball. Concerned about that, or do you think it's just a matter of settling in?
Well, fastball command for sure. That's something that we talked about this spring. Fastball velocity, fastball movement, fine, but location this spring hasn't been Herman-like. So, he's going to get a side session here tomorrow, and we'll concentrate on that. And as you know, Trace, there are times when that season starts, and guys heighten their focus and heighten their concentration, and things come together.
It seemed like he was working so hard to get a few of the other pitches down that maybe he didn't put as much into the fastball as normal because it's been a natural.
Yeah, possibly. I'd have to go back and look at every single game. I know there was an emphasis on his changeup and getting the breaking ball with the proper spin and action to it. I don't know whether he ignored his fastball, but he just wasn't as solid command wise with his fastball in his especially his last couple starts.
And the other thing, you were a guy that at times was the fifth starter, right? And you could have inconsistent work pattern early in a season. What kind of a thing does Chichi? I mean, what does that? I mean, you know what Chichi's going to go through in that situation. I guess is what I'm saying, and it is a little bit of a challenge, isn't it?
It's a little bit of a challenge, but Chichi's got a good head on his shoulders. He's done this with us a couple different times before. And I think if he's not he's not going to be one of the four guys who pitch again in the Dodgers series, he'll be able to, stay sharp with some side sessions and then be able to pop into the rotation. But it takes self-confidence and not worrying about maybe an extra 2 or 3 days of a layoff. Your arm should feel fine. Your stuff should be good. He's been pitching regularly down here, so that helps as far as the consistency and the feel for his pitches. He's pitching today. We're going to try to get him, a number of pitches so he gains some stamina. So if he is in the bullpen this weekend, he'll be able to be fresh and bounce back from today's outing. But he'll be able to handle it. I think it's probably more mental than physical, and Chi-Chi's been able to show that he can do that.
Thank you, sir.
All right, go to Drew Kreisman, and then I'll go to Thomas and Patrick for follow-ups. Drew, go ahead.
Good morning, buddy.
Morning, Drew.
First, coming to you from Boulder, so I just wanted to say thank you for your words earlier this week. Really appreciated that, just on a personal level. I've also got a very Boulderite question for you today, which is just how are the vibes there? How would you describe, the opening day ride around? We know the guys that aren't there anymore. There's been some bad news recently with some guys, but there's also a lot of opportunity and edge and chip on your shoulder. So I'm just wondering how you would describe the vibes of this club.
Actually, it's good. I mean, I think you can probably, it's probably, I sense that the coaching staff senses that the guys are anxious for the season. They're ready to get started, and obviously there's more than a handful of guys who are, ready to seize this opportunity and put some numbers on the board. And, we're looking forward to that, and I think the players are looking for that, because the majority of our team, especially position players, are, lesser service time players, and they're going to be given an opportunity to play. And they're excited about that. And overall, the group, it's a very competitive group. They have a lot of pride. Down here, there's a lot of, focus on their work, but yet, there's an edginess to them that is a good thing. And, obviously, if guys are on here and you're talking to guys on Zoom, probably a better question for them. But I sense that, and the coaching staff senses that as well.
And for you personally, how much pride or enjoyment or just day-to-day excitement can you take in those? I guess a lot of guys trying to prove, they belong in the bigs this year, and seeing that journey and knowing what that's like of that player showing that they belong.
I like that. I like that process. I like witnessing that process. Every player's career is their own, and I like watching players through their career. Where Charlie is, where Trevor has been and where he is now. The 4 years we've been together, going on our 5th year. Seeing, our starting pitchers, where they were in 17 and where they are now. And then to see the careers unfold of, McMahon and Tappy and Hampson and Hilliard and, Dom Nunez is really getting an opportunity this year, and Elias Diaz coming over from Pittsburgh and getting an opportunity this year. And CJ Cron bouncing back after an injury last year, after, bouncing around for, with a couple teams to, solidify himself. So, again, I like watching all these different stories unfold. But there's a lot of guys, like I just mentioned, who are, really wanting to solidify themselves as major leaguers and have that desire to show it. And we'll see, and that's why we play, right? I mean, we'll talk about it, in October, and November, and December when the season's over, and all along the way as well.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Brett.
Yeah.
All right, go back to Patrick and then finish up with Thomas. Patrick, go ahead.
Hey, perhaps it's a little early to know this, but when Tony Walters was here and whoever the secondary catcher was, certain pitchers tended to be paired up with certain pitchers and catchers, kind of a tandem. Not everybody started. Has anything been worked out with your 2 primary catchers this year with your rotation?
No, that is not.
Okay. Is that something you think as we go through the year that will work itself out, or do you just think you're going to go with perhaps the catcher who's either playing better behind the plate or maybe has the hot hand at the plate?
Yes. Yeah, I don't. If you're asking if there's any personal catcher-pitcher situations, no.
Okay, that's pretty much what I'm asking.
That's not the case.
Okay, thank you.
Thomas, starting.
Yeah, before my follow-up questions, I want to follow up on what Patrick just asked you. Will the catching situation also be an offensive thing with the do you look at that maybe as an opportunity to match up that way with the other team?
Yes.
Okay. How do you feel that Jairo Diaz looked yesterday? I think that was a back-to-back for him, and he was able to work his way out of an inning. Do you feel like that he's ready for you and ready to do what he needs to do?
Well, the last 2 days his stuff has been better. The velocity's ticked up. Obviously they got the base hit to start the inning. Then another hit. We made a nice defensive play behind him to throw out the designated hitter Mercedes at second base. Big strikeout of Anderson. That was a really good at bat there that Jairo got through, made some pitches. What we like is that the stuff ticked up a little bit the last couple outings. The velocity was up, the slider was better. Statistically, he's had a tough go this spring, and we've watched that with our critical eye and know that there's some things that we've spoken to Jairo about as far as how he's doing. But again, we know that past history with Jairo, especially 2020 wasn't a great statistical year from him in the shortened season, but there's some history there of performance. So we're obviously monitoring these last few days with all our pitchers to see how it's going to shake out at the end.
And follow up kind of on what Drew was talking about, but I've been struck by how Trevor Story has approached this as far as wanting to lead guys and wanting to kind of enjoying the guys who are coming in to the major leagues and becoming major league players. How have you felt about how he has taken not just the preparation for the season, but also his role on this team, his experience level, and what he's letting the other guys?
Well, yeah, Trevor knows, and so does Charlie, but specifically to Trevor, he knows that his place on this team now is different than it was a couple years ago. Based on a little bit of tenure, a little bit of seniority, based on his talent, and and more importantly, based on who he is as a person. And he wants to, embrace the leadership opportunity that's probably there in front of him and Chuck more than ever before. And they understand the importance of veteran players and how that can be impactful on lesser service time players. And he's taken that to heart. There's been great conversations with a lot of the guys, in and around the dugout in the clubhouse, the Trejos, the Welkers, the Valades, these guys that are younger who are approaching the major leagues are asking Charlie and Trevor questions and, watching them work in the morning in practice, and they're setting great examples, not only by their actions, but also by their words.
I think even more so to kind of follow up with Trevor, does it look like he's really not just embracing it because he has to, but he's really enjoying this?
I think he's really opened up. It's been great. I think the best of players, will always occur, when they're open and not, maybe isolated. He's done the opposite. He's been extremely open. He's been great. So it's happening, right before our eyes.
Hey, thank you, buddy. I really appreciate it.
Okay. All right, guys. Thanks.